roles on your team? Do people have defined roles, meaning you have to do this, and then I'll bring in this person to do this requirement? And then afterwards, a little separate, people were just curious about the channel's involvement and how much you rely on the channel for technology purchases.
So I'm not sure that the role would tell the salesperson very much, because it's going to depend on the project as who is engaged. So a number of our team, for example, are simply called engineer. They're software engineers or they're operations engineers. That's not going to give you much of a clue, because some of them, there's one guy there's only been with us for 2 years, another one's been there for 12 years. I think it goes back to what Ben was saying, is that you have to treat everybody equally. You can't assume that somebody's junior and therefore they don't matter. You have to assume that they could be influential. And so maybe one of the guiding principles is simply to be helpful. If somebody asks you for information, provide it to them. And also ask, why do they want it? I mean, that just goes back to the story earlier. If you are consistently helpful, you're providing information, you're getting your way into the team, and you're actually becoming the preferred person to deal with, because actually, from a purchaser's point of view, we like to deal with helpful people. We don't like to deal with people who withhold information or seem unhelpful or seem aggressive. But if we've been given something for free, if we've been provided with exactly what information we want at the time we want it, then you're going to be getting towards the top of the queue, because part of the purchasing process is actually emotional. It's not entirely, it's not entirely logical. Part of it is, I like that salesperson. I like the way they approached it. They were really helpful. I might want to do business with them.
When I was in sales, I did a very, very large deal with a client. And I sat in the CIO's office and we put the proposal onto him, and we've been working on it for a number of months. And he made one phone call to the database administrator and asked him whether the proposal and the technology that we were proposing was right and a good fit. And the guy said, yeah, I've spoken to Ben and his team and it's good. And he put the phone down and we got the order. The guy was a database administrator and had that much level of influence with the CIO. To never underestimate the engineer, the title of someone. As John said, nothing wrong. It costs nothing to be polite and helpful and leave a positive experience. But I remember that vividly. It's one of those stories that my family will tell you. Dad will tell that story of the time when the CIO phoned the DBA. But the reality of the fact is, this guy had no purchasing authority, but had incredible amount of influence. And we'd spend a lot of time with him. So when that phone call came in from the CIO, he was happy to sort of support our proposals. Really important that, it's everyone in that buying group is just as important.